What kills a soldier in war? A German bullet? A mortar shell? Or a bomb exploding in the dark corridors of his own mind? History records the victories won on battlefields, but it rarely speaks of the invisible wounds behind the medals, the silent screams. The year was 1943. The place was Sicily. The Allies were poised to drive a dagger into the heart of Europe. At the head of the army stood a legend known for his steel will and foul mouth, General George S. Patton. But that summer, Patton would fight the greatest battle of his career, not against an enemy soldier, but against two of his own men. So where lies that thin line that drives a general from heroism to monstrosity? August 3, 1943, Patton came to the 15th Evacuation Hospital to share the thrill of victory with his wounded men. He stood by every bed, looking each soldier straight in the eye. Their spirits were high, until he saw one man sitting on a crate without a single scratch on him, Private Charles Cool. Patton, in all his imposing presence, walked over and asked in that deep, metallic voice, "What's wrong with you, son?" Private Cool tried to speak, his lips trembling, his words breaking apart. "Sir, I think I've had a fever for days, but that's not the real problem. I don't think I can take it anymore, sir. My nerves." For a moment, Patton was silent. His hard expression seemed to soften. He leaned slightly forward, as if to place a reassuring hand on the soldier's shoulder. His voice was startlingly calm. "I understand, son," he said. "I understand. War wears on everyone." Private Cool, thinking the general truly understood him, sighed in relief. "I just can't take it anymore, sir." But then a flash lit up in Patton's eyes. His calmness was nothing more than the silence before a volcano's eruption. "Can't take it!" he thundered. "To hell with you! You're nothing but a damned coward. There's no place in this army for cowards like you. While brave men lie here, you dare to say that? They ought to line you up against a wall and shoot you." The general yanked him to his feet and dragged him toward the entrance of the tent. "Get back to the front immediately," he roared, "or I'll shoot you myself." What no one knew at that moment was that Private Cool was actually suffering from malaria and dysentery. His body was burning with fever. But all Patton saw was the ghost of a man branded with cowardice. Back at headquarters, Patton was locked in a heated argument with his staff over a map. His obsession with conquering Sicily blazed in his eyes. He was fixated on reaching Messina before his rival, the British General Montgomery. For Patton, war was simple. You win or you die. He refused to accept the so-called modern nonsense of battle fatigue. To him, it was nothing but an excuse to shirk duty. That belief would drive him onto an even darker path just 1 week later. August 10th, 1943. The 93rd Evacuation Hospital. History was about to repeat itself. This time Patton looked even more furious. He stood over a trembling soldier in his bed, Private Paul Bennett. Bennett had a fever, and the noises of war had shattered his nerves. Patton asked the same question once again. "What's the matter, soldier?" Bennett whispered his reply. "My nerves, sir. I can't take it anymore." The gunfire, it never stops inside my head. To Patton, this was a second rebellion, a second betrayal. His eyes looked as if they were about to burst from their sockets. "Another coward!" he roared. "Your nerves, huh? You're a disgrace to this army." He drew his pistol from its holster and pointed it straight at the trembling soldier's face. Doctors and nurses in the hospital froze in horror. "They ought to line you up against a wall and shoot you right now. Maybe I should do it myself, you damned fool." Soldiers and medics rushed in to intervene, warning the general. Patton lowered his pistol, but his rage had not subsided. He lunged toward the soldier's face. He grabbed the soldier by the throat. "Do you hear me, you cowardly bastard? You will get back to the battlefield." In that moment, everyone watched in terror as a legend transformed into a monster. The news spread quickly, first in whispers, then like an avalanche. Journalists heard of the incident, but for the sake of the army's interests, they kept silent. Yet the rumor climbed all the way to the top into the ears of General Eisenhower. Eisenhower summoned his brightest yet most uncontrollable commander. The atmosphere was ice cold. Eisenhower's voice was calm, but every word cracked like a whip. "Tell me what you did, George," he said. "I've heard you struck your own men. Sick men." Patton tried to defend himself. "They were cowards," he barked. "They were poisoning the army." Eisenhower slammed his fist on the table. "No justification can ever make it right for a commander to lay hands on a sick soldier," he thundered. "There is no excuse. You will apologize to those soldiers, to those doctors, to everyone in this army, in front of them all, or I will strip you of those beloved stars of yours and send you home." It was easy to give a victory speech to an army, but to confess his sins before thousands of men, for Patton, a man whose ego was thicker than his armor, that was worse than death. He went before each unit, one by one. His once thundering voice now came out like a trembling whisper. "There is something I need to say to you," he began. "As your commander, I know I have not always lived up to the standards I expect from you. In a moment of anger, I treated some sick soldiers harshly, and I regret it. I never wished to hurt the feelings of any of you. I only..." His voice caught in his throat. "I only want this war to be won so desperately." And then, something unexpected happened. From among the soldiers, one shouted, "Sir! Sir! Sir!" In that moment, the men saw their commander's human side. Instead of shaming him, they forgave him. And then, with one voice, they began to cheer. Patton's tears now flowed with gratitude. George S. Patton was not removed from command after this incident, but he was forced to watch the D-Day invasion from the sidelines. He missed the greatest victory of his career, yet from the ashes, he was reborn. And with the Third Army, he tore through Europe like a firestorm, claiming some of the brightest victories in military history. But those 2 slaps in Sicily cast a shadow over his legacy forever. What makes a leader truly great? His unbreakable will, or the courage to admit his greatest mistake and weep before thousands of his men? Perhaps true heroism is not in winning victories, but in facing the monster within and emerging stronger. On that day, Patton won a battle far harder than any fought on the battlefield, the battle against himself. History cannot be rewritten, but on echoes through time it lives again.